In a world full of choices, sometimes it can be hard making one. This thing right here could very well be the light bulb moment of inspiration that you've been looking for. This is the BENQ PD3225U. It's a 32-inch flat screen monitor and it's aimed at professional creators, or designers as it says on the box. But even if you're not a designer, I think there's plenty here for you. Over the years I've felt like I've run the gauntlet when it comes to new monitors for my setup. See, I'm used to creating photo and video content, but I also do a bunch of general stuff on my computer just like everyone else as well. So I kind of need a monitor that can handle both things. Now BENQ has run the PD range of monitors for a while, and like most who have one, they can tell you they all seem to be very satisfied with what they offer. See, there are things that this monitor does that make it pretty special, especially if you're using a Mac, and if you've been tossing up remortgaging your home to get an Apple Studio display. Maybe just hold off on that remortgaging for a few minutes while I give you something to think about. You see, for me, I love a simple, classic, minimal setup. And with this bad boy, you can get one cable to power your laptop, but that same cable will give you data transfer too. So you can have complete control of your laptop while it's charging through that same cable. When it comes to the aesthetics of the monitor, there's also plenty to love. For one, they've removed all the branding from the front of the monitor, so for people like me, I rarely wear clothes with a logo, so this is a nice touch. The only logos you'll see are a small one on the stand and one at the rear. The stand itself is a decent footprint, but it's a super low profile, so it can actually be somewhat functional, as you can place items on it without it getting in the way. The color is that space gray similar to the Macbook Pro, so this will help with matching up the colors if that's what you're using. From a cable management point of view, I'd love to see an option to make the cables more discreet, but the minimal pole stand does an okay job. But when it comes to how wobbly the stand is when typing, I didn't find any issues at all. I think a solid desk will also help keep the wobbles to a minimum as well. It's a very clean, minimal design with a small bezel around the whole screen. It has a boxy, almost Mac-like look when viewing from the side, which I kind of like. The screen is a matte type finish. It kills the contrast a little bit, but this is an acceptable trade-off in my opinion, considering a glossy finish will give you a bunch of reflections. I'm guessing it also makes this monitor more accessible and cheaper to make too. Although the matte finish might affect the contrast, IPS black technology helps mitigate that and delivers a contrast ratio of 2001. In my opinion, you'll find contrast on this machine better than most. Viewing angles are also pretty solid. I didn't notice any issues with that at all. At 60Hz, casual gamers won't mind this, but serious gamers probably will. But serious gamers already know this too. When it comes to pixels per inch, max scaling means you're not going to get perfect scaling. But as this is a larger 32-inch monitor, the pixels are spread across a larger area. 5K or higher would have been great, but for the sake of keeping a reasonable price, I think we're really kind of pixel peeping to notice any difference in the 4K, as you'll tend to be a little bit further from larger screens than smaller screens. But what I will say is that the visuals coming from this display are fantastic, and in my opinion, outperforms against any of its competitors in its segment. DisplayPilot 2 is an app that integrates perfectly to Mac. Now don't worry if you're a PC user, because they've also made an app for PC users also. The app lets you manage a whole bunch of functions to help you make your monitor work better for you. One of my favorite features is the color mode switching. You can select from a number of color gamuts suitable for your work. I in particular love the ability to select the MBook mode, which matches pretty closely with your MacBook. I'll go through a little bit more about colors later in the video too, but the app also lets you manage the brightness and volume through the screen through supported keyboard buttons, which is also a nice touch. You can also set it to auto pivot, where the monitor auto senses when the screen is set vertically. This is pretty handy as there's no playing around with the settings when you need to do vertical work. I love it for reviewing my social media videos or for any time you need to do any type of vertical work. The hotkey puck or hockey puck, it's kind of cool function wise and a nice touch, but it's not essential for getting the most out of your monitor. You can pre-program custom keys and the dial, which is also pretty handy if you need to quickly play with the volume, brightness, or any other custom function. But without it, the button controls at the back are very easy and simple to navigate. If I'm not adjusting too much, I just place the puck on the back around on the stand. It also sports two 2.5 watt speakers. They aren't mind-blowing, but I guess it's nice to have them for simple operating system notifications and general listening. They won't replace your current external speakers or headphones though. This really shouldn't be the reason why you'd buy this monitor too. When it comes to ports, while laptops and many other computers are reducing the amount of access to ports, this monitor is picking up the slack. No more fumbling around for a dongle. Know that you have access to your machine with ports ready and accessible. It's basically a monitor hub in one. There are connection ports on the back and on the side, as well as a headphone jack. And it doesn't mess with the aesthetic too. You can barely see or notice that they're there, but when you do need them, they're quite handy. Now when it comes to colors, I've said it in the past and I'll keep saying it, color is a huge part of selecting a monitor. Previously I've said it's because of the work I do, but I think even if you're not a designer, photographer or whatever, matching colors to be the right ones is 100% the right thing to do. You might feel like it isn't as important to you, but I'm here to say it is. For example, if you're using two screens and one color is off, how can you in your right mind be enjoying looking at that? This monitor comes certified out of the box. With this display, you can rest assured knowing that your eyes are seeing how it was meant to be seen for the color gamut it was meant for. So after all of this, I think this monitor sits right in the sweet spot for features, aesthetics, and in my opinion, price. You get a lot of bang for your buck here. Sure, there's displays which gives you, in my opinion, only slightly more, but at a much higher price point. And on the other hand, you could spend a little less and you'll miss out on basically all the main features of what makes this specific monitor great too. I'll also finish by saying that no monitor is perfect, but this one could very well be the perfect one for you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do that. But that's it from me. It's time for you to go and get out of here.